symbolic word for the 12 tribes of Israel. Jerusalem, the promised land, shall go forth the law, which is the laws, commandments, the statutes, the 613 laws, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. So that's one of the first things that would be happening if those were the true people in the land. Read.
No, but that's an end of, that's the,
and this is what
prophecy. Israel now is not biblical. It's got no.
But this is what I'm saying to you, that these people are not the children of Israel, because when they do go, because
doesn't mean that at all.
Absolutely it does, because think of what's happened here. They've gone home, they've gone back to the land.
Not all the Jews are back in the land of Israel. Why am I still here?
And you're absolutely,
why am I
and
still
that's
here?
another reason why.
That's why we're waiting for Mashiach. That's Mashiach's role, Messiah. Absolutely, Messiah.
Absolutely.
It's got nothing to do with.
No.
You could go to Israel and then,
I'm not disagreeing.
There are people who are black Hebrew Israelites who are in Israel right now.
I know that. I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm saying to you the exact same thing. That the children of Israel can only go home when the Messiah brings them home. So those people that have gone home, that claim to be Israelites gone home, are not the Israelites, because only the Messiah can bring them home. Now, don't get this twisted. Are there going to be some Israelites scattered and mixed amongst them, amongst those what call themselves Ashkenazis, even though they're not Ashkenaz, because Ashkenaz is the son of Japhet, right? But they call themselves Ashkenaz. There's enough to do with them, because Ashkenaz is Gomer's son. Gomer's the son of Japhet. They're not Japhites, they're Shemites. So they call themselves by another name. So even though they call themselves by another name, you've got the Sephardic Jews that are there, you've got the ones from Ethiopia there. We are also showing you that there will be Israelites scattered and mixed amongst them. So don't get this twisted. We know that there will be legitimate, real Israelites mixed amongst those people. But as a whole, that is not the nation of Israel. All 12 tribes have got to go home. And only
when the Messiah comes.
And you're absolutely right. And I agree with you. And this is why I'm saying to you that this is why they're not the people, because they're not meant to be in the land. The Bible's quite clear that when they go home,
it's not biblical Israel today. It's got nothing to do with it biblically.
And you're right, they're not biblical Israel. And this is what I'm telling you.
The people.
And you see, like, he keeps on cutting himself. He keeps on saying they're not biblical Israel. They're not biblical. And we know they're not biblical Israel because they're not the people of the book. All right. And then he knows that the Messiah has to be there for biblical Israel to be set up, the 12 tribes to be set up in the promised land. But yet he still can't see that what the hell are those fraudsters, those hucksters doing in the land, because they're not the people. Just like the scripture says, when it speaks about the Gentiles, that the land shall, that the Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles come in. And that's what they are. They are Gentiles in the land, trodden down the land until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. And that time.
Hey, Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta. And what you saw there on the screen from GMS Babylon is Falling, the brothers out there in the UK. And they're going toe-to-toe with an Amalekite, a proud Amalekite, who's trying to hold on to the lies that his forefathers have given him, trying to hold on to all of this, the claim that they are the true people of the Lord, but they are not. Those are Amalekites, and the Lord hates them, in which Amalek was basically a tribe of Edom, with overall Idumea or Edom, the sons and daughters of Esau, being the so-called white people, including the Small Hatters. And their lies are being brought down, that they have pushed out through the four corners of the earth. It's all being brought down, and it's being shown that these are frauds. One of the ways that the elder in this video, in this clip, is showing it is through Isaiah 2. And so that's where we're going to start. Isaiah 2 and verse 1. The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. This is showing both the southern kingdom, is shown by Judah, and the northern kingdom is shown by Jerusalem. All 12 tribes would be there when Jerusalem is being, or when Israel is being established again, because the 12 tribes were broken up into the northern and southern kingdom, and they wouldn't come back together until the end times. And when the Israelites go back into that land, all 12 tribes will be there, but that's not shown currently. You just have them basically reporting for the southern kingdom. That's why they call themselves Jays, going back to Judah. The guy in that clip was saying that he's a Benjamite, going back to southern kingdom. And then you also hear some of them say that they're Levi, they're Levites, but they're just frauds pretending to be the Lord's people. That's why all 12 tribes aren't there. That they're not the people. But they really want to be the people, because that's where the power is. Verse 2, and it shall come to pass in the last days, which we are in the last days, but we're waiting for Israel to be fully established and for Yahushua to return. It says that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. So the Lord's government is going to be set over all of the governments that have come before it, over everything, all the powers that have been here. That's why one of Yahushua's titles is King of Kings, Lord of Lords, because he's going to be over all of these other established kingdoms that have been. It also says in, I think, 2 Corinthians 15, that he has to put down all rule, power, and authority. This is how? By putting the Lord's government over everything else that has been established in this earth. And it says, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. We don't see the nations flowing unto the state of Israel, the Israeli state currently, because they are not the people. It's no denial. Don't stop denying it. You're just not the people. You're the Edomites. And that's why these things aren't happening for you. It says, many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of Jacob, or to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. So, if true Israel was established, the whole world would be following the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. But you still have these various other philosophies throughout the earth. You still have Islam and Muslims. You still have Buddhism. You still have Satanism. You still have Christianity, or Judeo-Christianity, because we might as well wrap it all up as one, because it's all Esau's version of the scriptures in which he can somehow be saved magically. But that's not going to happen. Your supersessionism is not going to save you. You guys are, your manifest destiny is to serve the Israelites. And so let's also check this out as it's saying it in Isaiah 45, because another thing is they're going to be coming with slaves. The true Israelites, they're all going to be bound serving the true Israelites. The Lord said he's going to put all of our enemies into captivity. So Isaiah 45 and 14, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the labor of Egypt, so they will be working for us, and merchandise of Ethiopia, they will be giving us their stuff, and of the Sabians, men of stature, shall come over unto thee. This is that flowing unto Israel, and they shall be thine. So they're going to be in our hands. They will be our captives. Isaiah 14 says, and they took them captive, whose captives they were. It says, they shall come after thee in chains, they shall come over, and they shall fall down unto thee. That chain, the chains showing that they're bound. They are in captivity under the Israelites. We don't see that with the Israeli state. Yes, they are oppressing everyone, but no, they don't have physical slaves like it'll be in the kingdom of heaven. It says, they shall come over and they shall fall down unto thee. So worshiping at our feet, that's being in a blessed state for the ones that are for the Israelites. It says, they shall make supplication unto thee, saying, surely the Most High is in thee, and there's none else, there is no power. These nations are not flowing unto these Gentiles like they would be if it was, or into these heathen like they would be in the kingdom. They're not coming over bound. They're not practicing or even pushing out the law, statutes, and commandments, and the rest of the world isn't because of that. Because Israel is where you rule the earth from. That's why these heathen want it so bad. But Isaiah 45 made me think of Isaiah 49 and 23. It says, and kings shall be thy nursing fathers, so they will be giving us their substance, and their queens thy nursing mothers, because we're going to be taking everything from them, including their women. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth. Them bowing down to us is a form of us being blessed. It speaks of this in Revelation 2:9 and 3:9, of them which say that they are Jews but are not. He's going to have them come worship at our feet. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. We should not be ashamed, because we have a world without end coming for us. But back to Isaiah 2 and verse 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. It's not happening. You don't have the 12 tribes there. You don't have slaves, and you don't have people flowing unto Israel. You're not the people, Amalek. Good try. Just kidding. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. They're going to be broken with rod of iron, as it speaks of in Revelation. To him will I give power over the nations, and they shall be ruled with the rod of iron, broken into pieces. That should be happening if this was the true establishment of Israel. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares. And this is the point that the elder was going into out in the UK, that they don't have that. With them establishing the state of Israel, there's still war. This is a major point. This is a huge spiritual gauntlet that they can't get over, because there's still war. They were bombed the first day they got in there with their Balfour Declaration. We still have war. It says, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. And these small hats, with their cunningly devised fables, they said that World War I and World War II were the wars to end all wars. Because it speaks of it here, or that wording with the plowshares and with the pruning hooks. That's also in Joel 3. And it shows it's after this great battle of Yahweh Shaphat, the Lord's judgment. So they established after World War I and World War II, in which, let's get that real quick. I just Googled World War II, the war to end all wars. From the AI overview, the term the war to end all wars was originally used to describe World War I. It reflected the belief that the conflict would be so devastating and disruptive that it would prevent future large-scale wars. However, this hope proved to be inaccurate, as World War II broke out just 2 decades later. And after World War II is when the Balfour Declaration went into or it's when it was really achieved their what they wanted, which was to take over the land of Israel. They knew they had to use the wars to do it because that's what the scriptures say. And so you had the Valley of Yehoshaphat, where they didn't even have World War II in the Middle East, but they tried to establish their Balfour Declaration after. But Joel 3:9, just to show there's war. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. And showing the link to Isaiah 2. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So there's this great war. But these devils forgot that there's World War III, the third woe that has to come before you get back to the swords being beat into plowshares and the spears into pruning hooks, because that's when there will be no more war, when Yahushua comes during World War III to establish order, to put all these nations underfoot and all of their false sayings and philosophies, to have that done away with. It says, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. There won't be any more war. So what are you people doing in the land claiming to be the people? You are the heathen that have taken over and parted the Lord's land, going back to Joel 3. And so you've got to be rooted out of there. And he will root you out of there. But to show who these people are, in which I kept wanting the elder to bring this up to establish that, yeah, you guys are Edomites, to that Amalekite there, wanting to really fully see, which says the wicked will do wickedly and none of them shall have understanding. They don't fully understand that they're not the people. They still believe that they're the Lord's people, and they can't see that they're their own people lied to them as they have. But Ezekiel 36 and verse 5, it says, therefore thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea. Idumea is the Greek way of saying Edom. Edom are the so-called white people, including the small hatters. They parted the Lord's land. They did it through their Balfour Declaration, which happened after what they called the war to end all wars, which World War I and World War II, which there's just been even more war and battles since then, since them getting into there, and they're the problem over there. That's why the Middle East is always having war, and there's always some problems over there. It's because Amalek's there, these Edomites are there. It says, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart. That's their Balfour Declaration, and they are very proud to be in that land. And they're even trying to kill all of the Palestinians that are there, which they're not the Lord's people either. Palestine goes back to ancient Philistine, which those were Hamites. And these are Ishmaelites in there calling themselves Palestinians. It's just all confusion. And this has to be rooted out and brought down. Which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. And they took away the people's inheritance, the actual true Israelites' inheritance. They can't answer for this as well. Jeremiah 17 and 4, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. Over here in Babylon and throughout the four corners of the earth, we've been scattered. And during this last slavery, they beat us to where we didn't even remember ourselves. And then these small hatters put it on themselves to be the Lord's people. They're truly not. It's just prophecy that the Israelites would discontinue from their heritage. When did this happen to you, Amalekites? They can't answer for it because they're not the people. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. And this also goes into Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles till the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. They came into the Lord's land, they put on as the Lord's people, and now it's just time for them to be shamed for the identity theft in which they have done. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians, because this all goes into them being revealed as the wicked. 2 Thessalonians verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity and sin upon sin doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let. And the Romans were in power at this time. The Romans were Edomites. And now Esau is in power again in the last times. And it says Esau's the end of the world, Jacob's the beginning of it that follows. So these people that are in power, starting with your Rothschilds on down, your Rockefellers, your DuPonts, your Gettys, the elite, those are Edomites. But the Lord is revealing them to be the wicked of the Bible. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So we're waiting for the Lord to truly and fully reveal these devils. And he's doing it through his scriptures, through his men, the prophets, and the strongholds that have been established are being pulled down with the wicked being shown to be just nothing but liars. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed. The wicked within the scriptures are the Edomites, Malachi 1 and 4. They shall call them the border of wickedness. These Idumeans, which that boy in the clip, that was an Amalekite. He is of the wicked. That's why he's still in denial and still trying to establish their lies that have been pushed out. No, you're not the people. Then shall that wicked be revealed, and this is revealing you. It's not the people. There's still war in the land. All 12 tribes aren't there. You don't have slaves. He established this through the doctrine of men, that Balfour Declaration. You're about to be spewed out. It says, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. This word of truth through the Lord is consuming them. They have no answers for why there's still war, or where the other tribes are, or why they don't have slaves, why they push Pink City in the land, and all of their wickedness that they do. They don't have an answer for it because they're not the people. And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. The Lord's going to destroy you when he comes back. Isaiah 63, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? Because what you Edomites practice is your form of the Bible, in which you magically get saved, but you're enemies to the Lord, and all that you're saying, your Judeo-Christian values, it's all blasphemy. You are the men of sin. You're these people that are about to be consumed, about to be destroyed from the Lord. It's all blasphemy, and you have to pay for this. So you try to establish yourselves as the Lord's people through your various doctrines, but it's all coming to naught. It's all vanity. It says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, because you're actually Satan's people. You are the adversaries. You're the adversaries of Israelites. You're the adversaries of the word, the doctrine. You say the laws are done away with. And the adversaries of the Lord. But he is revealing you. His coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. You're nothing but lies. Your doctrines are lies. Your whole lives are just lies. Move out of the way. Let's jump up to 3. Let no man deceive you by any means. So Stop listening to these people. There's one truth. There's only one truth. There's still war in the land, which shows that what you have is a lie. And that boy was in denial about that. They would try to keep deceiving you so that they could continue on with their establishment. It says, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first. That falling away is Israelites falling away from their inheritance, which we just read in Jeremiah 17:4. And that man of sin be revealed. The man of sin are the Edomites. All of these people. Because the scripts speak of Jacob and it speaks of Esau. But he's talking about their descendants. And their descendants are the people of sin, which sin is the transgression of the law. They say the law is done away with. And that's what they put the scripts onto themselves too. So they're going to be judged for all of these laws that they've broken. It says the son of perdition. So these people of destruction, the sons perdition, because Esau gets done away with. They get taken, their whole seed line gets taken off the earth. First, they're going to serve us, as it speaks of in Isaiah 2. They're going to be serving us, and then after they've built up the land of Israel, they're going to be set on fire, as spoken of in Obadiah 1 and 18, and every single one of them will be taken off of the earth. There will be no son nor nephew for them in their tabernacle. Everything's going to be taken away because they have committed far too many crimes and far too much confusion within this earth. They've touched the apple of the Lord's eye, and they've committed blasphemy with their Judeo-Christianity. They're about to be taken out of the way, but first their deeds have to be revealed. But the Lord's coming back to reward them. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.